The most influential teacher I ever had was an American poet and professor named Harry Humes back at Kutztown University, where I did my undergraduate. When I met Harry, I was a misplaced physics major, kind of bumbling along, and for a variety of reasons I ended up taking this poetry writing class. And in that class, our first assignment was to read a narrative portrait poem about someone close to us, try to capture them in a moment, try to capture their essence and their mystery. And I ended up writing about my dad, who had moved out by then, sometime in my teens. And I found myself in the process of writing that first assignment that I wasn't really writing this for school. This was something I was writing about for me. I put a lot of things that I'd never talked about, and energy that I never talked about, on a page. And when I turned this in, I didn't know exactly what I was turning in, because it was something that, writing in a way that I had not written before. And I turned it in, and the next class came and went. And at the end of class, I hear Donaghy. Called me Donaghy for a while. I became Dan, I guess, after I'd earned it at some point. And I just knew I did the assignment wrong, and he was going to ask me to redo it, because it wasn't, as I said, it was a different kind of writing for me. But it was quite the opposite from being discouraging. It was incredibly encouraging. And he pointed out some things that he saw in the poem that he liked, and said, if you're going to write this kind of poem, you need to read these kind of people. And hey, we have this campus literary magazine, and you want to make sure you send this poem there, because you've got something. I don't know if he was that encouraging, but he was incredibly encouraging. But he wasn't easily pleased either. But in other words, just keep going, and you're on to something. And that began. Just my world opened up when this esteemed poet and award-winning poet. I came to realize later just how many awards and how many books that this person of this caliber was taking the time to validate my voice and encourage me to keep going. And it began a relationship that started as an undergraduate and continues to this day. And I knew that day when I went home and I was sitting in my little apartment in Kutztown, Pennsylvania, that's what I want to do. Someday, I forget this physics, moving away from engineering, I'd like to teach at a state school, and I'd like to make people feel the way Harry just made me feel and help them find their voices. And that's really what has led me to my current job at Eastern Connecticut State.